Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents to you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. And neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents to you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. And neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections ground me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents do you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. And neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections ground me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose.
And welcome to Golden Sessions with doc.PEACE on KNSJ 89.1 FM. I'm doc.PEACE, Doctor of Pharmacy, transformational rhythmic speaker, and empowerment guru. I guide natural healers in further leveraging their creativity and expertise to make a powerful, positive, soul-driven impact. Golden Sessions is a time for us to connect and reset with doses of inspiration to empower confidence and foster global unity. Featuring golden starlings from all over the world who are shining their light so bright to ignite our light and remind us all that together we thrive. Today we have an incredible guest for you, Jessica Winans. Jessica Winans is a certified psychosynthesis life coach who guides people back home to themselves. Wow. Whew. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jessica.
Thank you for having me. What a beautiful, powerful intro.
You're so very welcome. You know what? The first thing that comes to mind is what does it mean to be guided back home to yourself?
Well, that's a great question. I believe in life, we are born completely whole, creative, connected beings. We know exactly what our life purpose is. We know exactly what our mission is on this lifetime. We know who we're going to connect with, and we trust the process. However, as we age, we start to add these layers to our beingness that aren't really ours in the first place. So the way that I've always looked at personal development, spirituality, art, photography, poetry, I've always looked at those things as modalities, not to create a new version of the self, but to come back home to the self. There's a great quote I heard a couple of years ago, and I can't remember who said it. And they said that life isn't about becoming something different. It's about unbecoming all the things that weren't really you.
So
Yeah.
where is home? Is my home the same as your home?
That's a great question. I think I I want to say no. I want to say that I think we're all connected, right? Like we're all interconnected. We all are tapped into the same source, God, the universe creator. But I think our homes are individual expressions of our own energy signature in that collective and in that dimension. Does that make sense? So I think that you and I are not different from one another. We're connected to the same source, but our home is our heart. It's different. And that's something I'm really passionate about is guiding people back to what's authentic to them.
Mm.
Right. And I know you get it from your coaching. It's not psychosynthesis life coaching and any coaching I've done in the past. It's never been about, hey, let me show you how I do my life. It's been and show you what how I decorate my home. It's hey, let me show you how you can actually no, let me not show you. Let me listen to you. Tell me how you want to decorate your home, and I can just hold you accountable to making sure that you get the furniture you say you're going to get the furniture for
Whew.
it. Like,
Wow. That's powerful. So our homes are different but similar in one way or another because we are all connected.
yeah, like we're all in the same neighborhood, we're on the same block.
Okay. Okay. We're oh, I like that
Yeah,
image. Wow.
but I have a
Okay.
hammock. You have your poster behind you. You know, we decorate differently.
Wow. That's powerful. We decorate differently. So, here on Golden Sessions, we're all about being gold, genuine, original, loving dreamers. And I love how you are basically guiding others to be gold as well, to be their version of what it means to be gold. Can you share with us what it is that makes you gold and how you identified your golden attributes?
Mm, I love this question. It's funny because I realize that so often we don't take time to really reflect on our own journey or on our own strengths as guides. I think we spend a lot of time holding space for others. At least I know I do, and I don't really take time to reflect. But I would say authenticity has always been big to me. And what makes me golden is my multidimensionality, which we all have. But I know I've done so much work in getting rid of all those limiting beliefs and that conditioning that made me feel like I couldn't be otherwise. And I believe that's a really golden trait for me is knowing and honoring that I have several different interests and several different missions in this lifetime. And I will live several different lives, and be with several different partners and have several different hairstyles or whatever it is, because I am multidimensional. And I believe that allowing myself to be who I really am, which is that being that is, intangible, indefinite, and free, um, makes me golden.
Ooh, powerful. I love this vision of you being multidimensional and changing through time, not not being so rigid in uh, how you need to appear or how you need to or where you need to work or what you need to do. You're letting the flow of energy run through you to change and adapt um, and mold and shine your light in the way that most resonates with you. That's beautiful, very beautiful, Jessica. So I'm familiar with you because you're a dear friend of mine, but I want you to share with us what are some of your dimensions.
Oh, I love that. I would say, and it's cool because in psychosynthesis, we have something called sub personalities. So instead of doing shadow work, we do sub personality work. Psychosynthesis does come from a psychologist who studied under Carl Jung, so they're not too different. However, what we do is we look at these parts of us, our shadow aspects, or sub personalities, as lightness and darkness, and we study them and we get to know them, and they become parts of us, and we integrate them instead of trying to like ditch the shadow or kill the ego. We actually hug it and we bring it in and we embody that part of us just as much as we embody the light. And so a couple of my dimensions that are sub personalities, the first one that came to mind was the rebel, and that's who I've been riding with the most lately. I have this inner rebel who just wants to, break chains, break cycles, break routines, break the norm, break the structure, which is positive sometimes too. I would say another dimension of my being is the healer and the helper, almost kind of like this like maternal energy that comes through me sometimes. And it's very like primal and maternal and loving and nurturing. So there's a duality between those two personalities. Um, well, we think there is, maybe there's not. And there's also this writer who just loves, that was like my childhood dream and still is. I've always loved writing, and I have a speaker who likes speaking and radio and journalism and television and interviews. um, and then there's other part of me that loves design and graphic design and photography and digital art and oils and paints, and this other part of me that loves fitness and exercise and weightlifting, and this other part of me that loves yoga, and this other part of me that loves Buddhist philosophy and psychosynthesis. Um, and so there's so many different dimensions to ourselves, and I think our sub personalities, like, they get to sit at that table and be held just as dearly as like all the light personalities I kind of just shared with you.
Incredible. Your dimensions are so beautiful. Thank you for sharing those with us. So I'm curious, how did you discover all these dimensions? And was there ever a time where you didn't have these dimensions, or you weren't fully expressing, and you ignored or suppressed who you were? How did you get to where you are now, where you're uplifting and where you're shining your light in the way that most resonates?
Two instances come to mind. I'm going to go in chronological order. The first was, sorry, wait. The first was, it was about 4 years ago now. I was working full time in an internship, an unpaid internship at a newspaper on Long Island. I was also working retail part time, and then I was also going to school full time. And I was driving, and it was like, kind of crazy. Like, I would wake up at like 4, try to work out or something, get in the car, drive an hour and a half to school, be in school all day, drive an hour and a half to my internship, drive home. And then some nights I would close at the retail store. And then on weekends I would work at the retail store the whole weekend. And then I'd also have stories because I was writing as a journalist too. And what was kind of happening was my soul was deteriorating. I was so exhausted all the time. I was honestly struggling with depression. I was struggling with an eating disorder that was undiagnosed at the time. And I remember driving to cover an event on Long Island, on the Long Island Expressway. And I literally something came over me and I just slammed into the car in front of me. And I had this out of body experience. I literally was looking down at my hands on the steering wheel. And I actually was so in shock of what had happened that I pressed on the gas. So I'm pressing on the gas. My car is in front of this person. Thank God they were okay. Their car was huge because literally they had barely any damage to the car. They just had a bumper that fell off. My car, however, was accordioning into me. And the gentleman got out of his car, ran over to my window, knocked on the door. He was literally an angel. And he was like, "You need to turn your car off." And I just like put my brake on, turned the car off. And he was really supportive. And, I was a hot mess. And I noticed something was wrong because the first person I called was my editor to tell him that I wasn't going to be at the event. So here I am. He said, "Okay, good. Call the police, call an ambulance, and don't come to the event." And I realized in that moment, what the hell am I doing here? Like, literally, what am I doing? And the first thing that came to mind was that I was going to move to California. My father had moved out here a year before. And I said, okay, I think I'm just going to see if I can get a job out there, an internship for the summer, something. And I did. And I came out here for what was supposed to be a summer. I went back to New York, and then I moved to California. So what I believe to be true, and I was going to share the second time that happened was when I started connecting with you. So I had been coaching, and at the beginning it was all the dimensions, and something, I don't know if it was like, and I don't want to blame other people, but I was putting myself in circles and in communities and in connections and following people that were really encouraging me to dim my light to convert sales, basically. And it happened again. I started getting really sick. I got burnout. I was fatigued. And I'm somebody who's always liked to do a lot of things and has a lot of physical energy. And I don't burn out if I'm doing what I love. Does that make sense? Like, I love an all-nighter. I love, being so excited about a project. And I have a lot of that fire energy in me. But what was happening was, it was like these physical manifestations. I was getting sick. And when I connected with you, I had just decided to go back to working a 9 to 5 to see if that would support my vision. And I remember talking to you on our golden session and really trying to hold the situation in light, but I was draining my energy. If you try to hold a situation in light that is not a light situation, unfortunately, it drains your energy. That's why I think it's so important to lean into darkness too. And I just had this epiphany that was like, no. And it's funny because we're all sitting here today, and I had no, like, at this point, when this happened, this was only a month ago, like, I can share in all honesty and transparency, like, my financial situation was kind of a hot mess from when I had burnout and, was kind of not okay. I was like, I don't even know how I'm going to pay my bills for July, but I literally cannot shut off my heart and who I truly am just to fit into this mold. And what I'll share with you that I think is so funny, I'll share with everybody that's watching, is then I had a meeting with my wellness coach who hired me to do social media management. I have a consultation with my certification program to do social media management. I had somebody from my psychosynthesis cohort reach out to me to do copywriting. I've never even done copywriting, but she liked my writing so much that she just wants me to write for her.
First of all, your writing is incredible.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
So that's another dimension. And then I had somebody sign up for a consultation for life coaching with me. And then I was able to hire an apprentice for life coaching. And then I had a really awesome photo shoot last night. And the reason why I'm sharing this isn't to brag, but it's to remind you that, like, we have so many dimensions of who we are. And when we allow space for them to emerge, like, it draws people in, and it's also so fulfilling. Like, it's not even about money. It's honestly just so fulfilling to give those parts of you to people and to share those parts of you to people and to be seen and heard for many things and not just one.
So beautiful. This story is incredible. That journey that you've been on the past few years. You said this phrase that really stuck with me. When you try to hold a situation in light that's not light filled, it can be very draining. Yeah. And so it sounds like you were playing this role of doing what society, or what you had maybe told yourself that you must do, and it was very draining. But once you started to step into what mostly resonated with you, then it became more free flowing. And I strongly believe that light attracts light. Your energy attracts what you exude. And so this light that you're now emitting is attracting this same light filled energy back to you. That's why these doors of opportunity are opening. And so I really want to get into this more because this is an incredible conversation that we're having, but we're going to have to take a quick break. You're listening to Golden Sessions with doc.PEACE on KNSJ 89.1 FM. We're going to take a quick break and we will be right back, so stay tuned.
Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections ground me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents to you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. And neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together, we thrive.
And we're back. You're listening to Golden Sessions with doc.PEACE on J 89.1 FM radio. I'm doc.PEACE, and we are here with our incredible guest, Miss Jessica Winans. Let's get back into it. So before the break, we were talking about the light and the darkness. Let's get into the darkness. What does that mean to step into the darkness or allow the darkness to sit with us? Honestly, that makes you a little bit nervous.
Yeah, it makes a lot of people nervous. It used to make me nervous. I think people see me as, I am a light person. I do have a lot of light, but it's really because I've been through a lot of darkness and because I've allowed myself to experience it. I think we've all been through darkness, but I don't think we all allow ourselves to be fully present in it. We have these parts of us, right? In psychosynthesis, we call them our subpersonalities, and we also have these experiences that create them. So our subpersonalities in psychosynthesis were our shadow self in modern day psychology, pop psychology, and spiritual psychology. Those parts of us were created in our subconscious mind during traumatic events. Most of them are created during childhood. However, you can have a subpersonality form after a traumatic event at any age. And remember, traumatic events, they don't always have to be what we would think they are stereotypically, like a car accident or a divorce or a broken leg or death, right? They could just be things that, they could be something as quote unquote small as when you're a kid, you're drawing a picture of a house and your mom tells you that the door doesn't look good that color, you need to change it. And now all of a sudden you have a subpersonality because you're bad at art and that you're not good at colors. And these subpersonalities, what happens is they are fed over time by our experiences, because our brain is always looking to make connections, right? So if the belief that I have is that I'm bad at art because when I was 5, my mom told me that I should paint the door in my painting red instead, then I'm going to look for evidence to prove that right for the rest of my life. What I love about psychosynthesis and what I love about sitting in the darkness and allowing it to move through you is we are now releasing those limiting thought beliefs and those patterns through experiences and in the body and sensation versus just the mind. So like neurolinguistic programming is awesome. There are so many tools that we can use to rewire our subconscious mind. Affirmations, neurolinguistic programming, and I love those things and I'm all about them. However, I think until you really sit with whatever that darkness is for you, that pain, that trauma, that trigger point, and you allow yourself to feel it in your body. You allow yourself to cry. You allow yourself to yell. You allow yourself to really actually be in the experience of what that felt like. That's when you transmute that energy into light.
Whew. That's when you transmit that energy into light. Okay. So, Jessica, how do I possibly step into this darkness, these past moments of my life that honestly I've gotten to the point where I've blocked them out, really. So, how could I possibly step into those dark moments and allow myself to be comfortable in the uncomfortableness of that darkness?
That's a great question. There's a couple ways you can do this. One is to work with a guide, like a psychosynthesis guide. Um, and we do a process um, where we talk to your subpersonalities. So, I guide you through tuning in. We call in that part of you and we literally talk to her or him. And we ask them questions and we really try to understand them. You can do this on your own as well. I think it's totally up to you. I'm a firm believer that we have everything we need inside ourselves. We don't
Yes.
need a guide.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, we have everything we need within ourselves. Like, we don't need, you don't need to hire psychotherapists. Can it be very powerful? Yeah. And I can say that it can feel really good to be held by someone else in that space, because a lot of, going back to like a lot of our trauma and wounding is around not being seen, not being heard, not being held. So it can be very powerful to work with a guide in that space. I know I've had really powerful breakthroughs with some of the coaches I've had in my program around that. But if you want to do it on your own, and if you want to do it on your own, and something you could also do both, is sit with yourself and really, you can set a sacred space, maybe light some candles, burn some incense, however that looks like for you. And you can grab a notebook and a pen and you can just reflect on some, and I would do this one at a time, some of like the more painful moments in your life or whatever darkness is emerging for you at the moment. And the first thing I would recommend is writing everything out. You can also do some embodiment here where you might dance and you might flow and you might, or yell and shake and cry. And at the end of that, at the end of really feeling that, that's where you're going to ask those questions of, what are you trying to teach me? What do I need to know? And how can I use this pain and this sorrow and this grief and this sadness or this jealousy or this anger or this rage or whatever it may be, scarcity, to fuel my mission and fuel my purpose and serve others? How can that flow through me into light?
Whew. So ask that question, what are you trying to teach me? So do you believe that the universe will continue to show you, to try to teach you something until you learn it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in school. That's what we're here to do. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's so true. Okay, what a powerful exercise that you just gave us today. I honestly will practice this because I firmly believe that in any business endeavor, in any, even in your career, in anything in life, there's internal and external energy. There's the internal work that needs to be done, and there's the external work that needs to be done to get it going. And so you've given us some incredible internal work energy exercises to do, and I appreciate you for doing that. So I'm curious, what are some habits that you've become that you've integrated into your life and that you do on the daily to keep this energy and light filled exuberance going?
That's a great question. I'm really big on like habits and decisions versus routines. Does that make sense? There's nothing wrong with routines. Like if you're a morning routine person and you like the schedule thing, like go for it, do it. But I totally can, like, I just do not flow that way. My body, every time I try to do that, it's like, go like this, right? So some things I do are, I mean, I meditate every morning. That's really important to me. To start my morning, making sure that I'm in a place of peace. Another thing I do is I try to really be cautious of what I'm consuming. I believe like the everything we consume is feeding us, right? So like I choose to drink water from a local water sanctuary called Liquid Eden, and it's reverse osmosis, you know, vitamin and mineral water. I choose to eat mostly vegan and gluten free, and take care of my body. I making it a pact that I will go outside for at least 20 to 30 minutes a day and just move my body. And these are things that really help me stay in light. Another thing too is like allowing, and I think this is important for those of us who have businesses, like allowing there to be tons of messages. I have so many messages on my phone right now. I have so many messages on social media right now. And if it's not like an immediate situation, just allowing yourself to be fully, what that really equates to is allowing yourself to be fully present in everything you're doing.
Yeah.
And that really helps me harness my energy better.
Yes, yes, yes. I love all those habits that you've integrated into your life so seamlessly, it seems. So it sounds like you've gotten it down. You're on your life's purpose. You're fulfilling your life's purpose. You're on that journey towards that soul purpose of yours. How has shining your light impacted what's going on in the world, like right now, Jessica?
Mm. I think my work serves as the gentle invitation to be authentic to you. I think right now there's a lot of, well, I want to preface this with saying I understand. This is a collective darkness. We have to be in the darkness. All of these things are coming to light right now. Systematic racism, poor health system, poor infrastructure, um, you know, health problems, mental health problems, the overload of technology, political corruption, these things, this is our collective shadow. These are our sub personalities coming out right now. The argument about, I was just talking to a friend about how I just, like, whatever you want to do with the vaccine, I'm so surprised that it's so controversial. I am so surprised that it is so controversial. But I understand because we are all having trauma responses right now to the past year. And what I believe is the work is serving as an invitation to love one another, and also that however you're feeling, even if I don't agree with the way you're expressing it or what you're saying, it's all good. It is all good. And however you express it is okay. And I really feel like I'm just here to empower people to know that it's all good, and we can't skip any of it. This is exactly, we're all exactly where we need to be right now. We're in the shit, we're in the darkness, but there's so much light too, and empowering people to hold space for both. And then,
So, what was that last piece?
sorry, I said and themselves too.
Yeah, so it's an invitation. So what is this invitation? How can we work with you? How can we connect with you further, Jessica?
Yeah, so I'm currently looking for 3 more one-on-one coaching clients for a new program I'm launching called The Creatrix, Live Your Life by Your Own Design. It is actually formally known as my ultravioletly aligned 90-day one-on-one transformational life coaching program. So if you're familiar with that program, it is similar. However, I'm adding some really cool new things in, like tarot readings and birth chart readings. And this is a program to really connect to your authentic core with me as your guide through that process of psychosynthesis. What I love about this program is it brings people back home to themselves. Like, I've had people finish it and start businesses. I've had people finish it and start relationships. I've had people finish it and move to a new location. And that's my invitation is, if you're interested, if that feels like soul aligned for you. My enrollment ends on July 1st for this particular program, but you can go to my Instagram @_ Jessica Winans, or you can go to calendly.com/find alignment to book a complimentary 15-minute connecting conversation with me. And on there too, talk about multidimensionality. If you're like, okay, I don't want to coach, but I really need a photographer or a social media person, I'd also love to support you in that way. And you can check that off on the same content.
I love that. Multidimensional indeed, Jessica. So can you spell your last name for us so we make sure that we connect with you and it's the right Jessica?
So my last name is W-I as in indigo, N-A-N.
Okay, Jessica Winans. Winans. Beautiful. Okay, so this is actually, we're towards the end of our session today. Is there anything last minute dose of inspiration that you would like to share with us today?
Yes. It takes courage to follow your soul path and to be seen for who you are, but you're brave enough.
Amen.
So let's see it. Let's see it.
Let's get it going. I love that. Beautiful, beautiful affirmation. Thank you for closing us with that beautiful dose of inspiration. I received that message. And thank you for being with us here today, Jessica. It's been a blessing connecting with you. Thank you for shining your light so bright.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me. What a beautiful honor and blessing, and thank you all for listening.
You're so very welcome. You are listening to Golden Sessions with doc.PEACE on KNSJ 89.1 FM radio. That concludes today's session with the incredible Jessica Winans. Thank you for joining us today, and remember that you are gold. We all are, and together we thrive. I'm doc.PEACE. Shine on.
Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections ground me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents do you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. And neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections ground me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents do you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. And neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive.